What's up, y'all? This is Dre with Bill 206, Brothers Uniting Leadership Development, and we're here with another episode of the Build Black Wealth podcast. I'm in the studio with Randi, the owner of Black Martha Crafts. Glad you can join us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's jump on in. Tell us a little bit about your background and the work that you do in your business. Tell us a little bit about, your background and what you do.
Okay, my name is Randi Cerf. What I do is I craft beautiful pieces out of resin, beautiful pieces of jewelry and accessories, pretty much. I started during the pandemic. It's kind of my pandemic baby. And yeah, I started having a lot of fun doing it. And then one of my friends actually kind of forced me to start selling my product because I was kind of building up a lot of product. And then also she said, people will want to buy this, so you should probably sell this. So I started, and then I've just been going from there.
So this is not something that you've always wanted to do, or does it feel like you always been artistic or into like crafting and things like that? Like,
I've always been into crafting a little bit. I've always been into creative things like photography, but I really got into my creative side during the pandemic. All that time sitting in the house, I just had to find something to do. And once I found the resin medium, I just really started enjoying it and kept going and was loving the things that I was making, and other people were loving it too. So I just kept going with it. It was never a part of my plan.
So it just kind of led you. I guess that's too, like, well, we talked about like what your motivation is, but what kind of led you? You talked about crafting, but also like the pandemic. So if it never was your plan, do you feel like it's like meant for you to do, or?
I didn't feel like that, but I think comments from people are what makes me feel like it's something that I should continue doing, because people are just like, oh, I really love these. Like, can you make me these like this? And, I think that you can do this, or like, I really love what you're doing. So it's really comments from other people that get me going, and that make me believe in myself and that I can do it.
So switching kind of to the business, because I know it turned out kind of like you were already creative, and then you started doing it during COVID, and then it sounds like you like amassed this inventory, and they're like, hey, you should probably sell some of this stuff, right?
Clear up a little space, yeah.
Right. So like switching kind of more to the business mind, like describe your journey towards like getting your business up and going, and also like share some of the lessons learned that, some of your biggest lessons learned through that process.
I learned a lot throughout the process. So I had never done a craft market before. Like, that was a learning process. When I first started, my setup was just these cheap little things that I had bought from Amazon, these little earring racks. And I remember at my very first craft fair that I'd ever done, a gust of wind came through and all of my stuff went flying onto the ground and like onto the grass everywhere. So I had to change things up, and I had to learn, maybe get some heavier stuff, or maybe bring some rocks or some weights. So everything was a learning process with my business, with, from everything from designing my business cards all the way up into my setups at the events. And I'm still learning. It's a learning process every day.
So what do you feel like one of your like biggest learning lessons was through that process as you're getting your business going? Because it's not just the markets, it's actually the business side of it too, like taking payments and reporting and taxes and business licenses and W-9s and all that, to actually formalize your business, right? Like what was some of the process with that? Like what do you feel like your successes are with that? And I know it's always hard to ask this question because there's always room to grow and there's always room to be more successful. But like, and how you define success.
Yeah, there's always room to grow with that. And I'm still educating myself on all of that. But as far as like my actual business and like my products, for example, one thing that I'm starting to learn more of is there's something for everybody. And what I like, somebody else might not like, but what I hate, somebody else might love. And I learned that in a specific pair of earrings that I made, and I actually hated them. And I was just like, I don't even know why I'm making these, but whatever. And I put them in this basket of 50 pairs of earrings that I had, and I brought them to work with me. And my friend picked those pair out, and she was so drawn to them. And I was like, I hated these. So, it's like that was my lesson myself. Like there's something for everybody. And like, just because I don't like it, that's literally what some people are drawn to. So, it's all a learning process.
So what is like your number one product that people request of you? Do you have like a number one?
Ooh. It depends. Ooh. It depends on what I have available, because some people know what I have and some people don't know, so they'll make their new favorite out of what is available to them. Right. So my best sellers are probably... Actually, I don't want to tell you my best sellers. I don't want to tell you my best sellers. How about I don't? No. My best sellers are honestly probably my Lego earrings. My Lego earrings or my teddy bear earrings. People love those because it reminds them of their childhood.
And what's your favorite product? Or what's your favorite thing that you make, that you craft?
Not the Lego earrings.
The ones you have on now?
These were fun to make, but they made these things indestructible. And so, like, they are the hardest thing to do and the hardest thing to craft with. But the way that people get excited when they see certain things that remind them of their childhood, they're really nostalgic. Across my table, they're like, I want those. Those are really cute. So I give the people what they like. Give the people what they want.
What's your favorite thing?
My favorite item that I sell?
Yeah.
My favorite item that I sell right now, I made a selection of pride flag earrings. So I just had like the basic, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple flag earrings. And when I went to this event in Tacoma, this girl asked me, like, do you have any lesbian earrings? And I was just like, no, I have these. And she was like, well, I meant like a lesbian. And I was just like, what is she asking me for? Because, my mind might go a few different places. But she educated me on like all these different flags. She's like, there's an actual flag for lesbians. And so I looked it up, and then I came to find out there's a bunch of different flags. Right. So I wanted to cater to every single one of those flags. So I made a line of earrings for Pride that are the colors of all of these flags.
That's dope.
So, yeah, I'm just trying to cater to everybody.
And that's also dope because, like I said, you got educated in a situation where you're trying to sell a product. You're like, what do you mean? And it's like, well, let me tell you.
Yeah. So, like, if you're out there, come back to me. I have a pair of lesbian earrings for you and a friend.
And with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Build is back with another year of our Build Labor Standards Initiative. Join us this year as we focus on the Black community members who are in the arts and entertainment category as we dive into the major ordinances within the city of Seattle. Join us at upcoming events and visit our website to learn more. Visit www.build206.com/labor standards to learn more.
Welcome back. This is Dre with Build 206, and we're here in the studio with Randi, owner and founder of Black Martha Crafts. This is another episode of the Build Black Wealth podcast. So let's jump back in. So thinking about business, and people starting businesses, what is like one or two resources you feel like our community needs to help folks navigate that process and support and be supported?
Oh, that's a tough one. Two things that I feel like our community needs.
I don't know if they're going to hear you.
No, oh, sorry. Two cool. Things that I think our community needs to feel supported. We could always use funds to support things like Build 206 and education. I really think that we could use education. There's some things that we just are completely unaware about when it comes to investing or stocks or, learning how to do our taxes and things like. There's a lot of people that don't know how to do that. So I think having that education and providing a free education would be a wonderful thing for the Black community to have access to.
Yeah, and that's been a reoccurring theme. Mentorship has also come up a lot, but yeah, resources and then that technical assistance or education and support, especially with our, like we haven't been taught it in school. A lot of times our families have been excluded from wealth building activities, so it's like you're not getting it from the family, our community, friends. And then some people who do have it, sometimes they be like gatekeepers, trying to hold on to the information. So
I don't want you to catch up to me, so let me, only give you this much information. Like,
or
see
it's like
part two.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I've noticed, and I suffer from this too, is like we've been taught to mistrust each other. So it's like, what's your angle? If you're trying to share something with me, it's like, what are you getting out of it? Is this true, or is it a hustle, or blah blah blah? So that's what we tried to do with the Build Black Wealth Initiative, to try to create a space for us to share information with each other and know that it's a trusted and safe space for us to ask those types of questions. And a lot of folks I know, like even in those conversations, like I learned a lot from other people sharing information. So it's like it's been a dope experience to be a part of that process. So as an entrepreneur, what's like one trick or tip that you've learned that helped you succeed? So you talked about a few things about like, your setup, breakdown, making sure that things are weighted down and things like that. And I also heard you say you listen to the customers, like what they want. Even though you may not really like it that much or whatever, you try to give the customers what they need. And even the situation you talked about, the earrings, the Pride earrings, like a customer gave you some feedback and gave you some knowledge, and really being adapted to that. But what are some other tips and tricks that you've learned that helped you succeed?
Network your net worth. Yeah. Network your net worth. Half of the events that I know about now, I wouldn't know about unless I was out networking. At an event that I went to a week and a half ago, for example, I pulled up. I was supposed to have a tent. The weather was not agreeing with me, and it wasn't agreeing with other people. Their tents were flying all over the place. But before I packed up my stuff and before I left, I went around to all of the booths and still talked to people, gave them my business card, took their information. And some of the booths was like, oh, I'm glad I stopped by here. And one of the booths that I stopped by, she actually bought enough product for me to pay for my vendor fee that day, and I didn't even set up my booth. So it's like you really need to go around and talk to people, really network your net worth. I go and follow people on Instagram, and then they post like, hey, I'm doing an event here. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that place did events. So now I can go and follow that place and be at their next event. So it's like you really have to get out there and talk to people in order to find out what else is out there. It's not just what you see at the eye. Like everybody else has something else going on. And there isn't just one event happening every weekend. There's multiple events. So find out.
Figuring that out and building that network so you're able to tap in. And I'm sure folks share your products and you share other people's products and stories and all that. All that good stuff. So that's dope.
That is another thing that I also make sure to do, whether I have a booth or whether I don't. Like at Burien Pride, I didn't have a booth, but I walked around and I had some of my product with me. And I came across another person who made products similar to mine. And I actually was going to buy her product, but then she saw my product and said, well, let's trade. So we both traded. And then I posted hers on Instagram and she posted mine on Instagram. And we both gained followers. We sell the same thing, but it's like not everybody has to be your competition. So you have to know that too.
Yeah, there's more than enough out here for everybody. A lot of resources. We don't got to be in competition with each other.
Yeah, we don't have to be in competition.
That's dope. So what's the best advice you would give somebody? And I mean, you got a unique story too, the way you started your business. But like somebody may be struggling just to get over the hump of getting started. They got an idea or thinking about things. And it sounds like you have some friends and family that encourage you to they might have threw you off the porch, pushed you off the porch and be like, hey, you need to do this. But what advice would you give somebody that's kind of struggling getting started, starting a business?
Don't be scared, and you can always do things over or restart things. Maybe not, you don't want to restart your whole business, but you might design something and you might say, I don't know if I like the way this looks, but get it pressed up and get 100 or 200 of them pressed up. And then if you decide after those 200 and you sell 200 products worth of those labels or whatever, then maybe decide, okay, I'm going to tweak it a little bit and do this. Like, don't be scared. Just like put yourself out there and do it, because not putting your product out there at all won't make you any money. So,
yeah, and we talked about like this. With any success, there has to be some failure.
There
With
has to be,
any
yeah.
good, there has to be some bad. And so, understanding that's part of the process is what I kind of hear you saying. Is like, hey, try it. If it doesn't work, go back to
Yeah.
the drawing board. Try again.
Call it market testing, whatever.
Right, market testing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So, well, we appreciate you coming on. I think that's all. Did you have any questions for me?
No, I just
Okay.
wanted to say thank you for everything that you're doing with Build and everything that you've done for Black Martha. I appreciate you.
Oh yeah. Before we go, how do people get in contact with you? Like, how do they? You talked about your Instagram. How do people like tap in with you?
Well, it's a very unique handle. It's Black Martha Crafts. So you can find that on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Fair, Etsy. I'm pretty much everywhere under Black Martha Crafts.
So y'all make sure you tap in with Black Martha Crafts. Hopefully she'll see you out at some of the events that she's vending at. If you guys see her, make sure you guys support and buy her products. Follow her on Instagram and all other social media platforms, Black Martha Crafts. Information is in the description of the show. Once again, this is Dre with Brothers United Leadership Development, Build 206. And this has been another episode of the Build Black Wealth podcast. Until next time, peace.
Woo-hoo.